My name is King Kai, and today I'm going to talk about my final assessment of business ethics video presentation. So this is about the case of Shein. So the first theory I implemented is Rose prima facie duty theory. So I think this theory is very helpful because it helps to recognize that people actually can have multiple moral obligations in the same time or in the same case, in the same situations, and these obligations might against each other. So relevant duties from this theory is like non-maleficence, justice, beneficence, fidelity, and reparations. So from this theory, I know that instead of treating one rule as automatically superior, I think that the decision maker must determine that which duty has the greatest moral weight in the particular situation. So the second theory I've been asked to implement for this case is Kant's second formulation of the categorical imperative. So in simple terms, what I understand from this theory is don't simply use any humans as a tool for you to achieve your own targets, no matter it's company targets or own targets, which means that we need to respect humanity and not use people solely to achieve our own goals. So I think this principle is actually quite relevant because I think that this fast fashion involves relationships like companies, workers, and consumers, which people are playing a role that will be, which human are playing a role like they will be easily manipulated or become a tools of other people to achieve their goals, their commercial objectives. So I think Kantian ethics place importance on human dignity, rational agency, and respect instead of simply calculating economic outcomes. And lastly is ethical relativism. So this ethical relativism states that moral judgments are influenced by the norms, values, and expectation of societies or cultures. So this will provide a different way of examining fast fashion because labor expectations, wages, which means salaries, consumption habits, and attitudes toward environmental responsibility vary between countries. So for this case, in my point of view, I think that the fast fashion model is morally unacceptable when low prices and rapid production depends on worker exploitation, environmental damage, or the transfer of cost to vulnerable stakeholders. So I definitely do not agree that Shein should be treated as the only morally responsible company because the wider fashion industry and consumer culture is contributing to the problem too in the same time. So the Anti-Slavery International article emphasizes that concentrating criticisms solely on Shein risks allowing other businesses using similar models to escape inspection. So for section 2, I actually chose a case about Johor River pollution. This article is from Channel News Asia article. So this article is actually talking about sand washing pond at the sand mining site report that causing sediment to enter the Johor River. So this has caused the water treatment disruptions and affected households and fishermen who actually depended their life, maybe like income or daily needs from the river. So this case actually raised an important moral issue about corporate responsibility, environmental protection, and the fair treatment of stakeholders. So I've been told to drill down the AI response 10 times. So I have asked the AI, which is ChatGPT I use, to identify a wider range of stakeholders, including the company, fishermen, households, government authorities, water operators, and the environment. Besides, I also tried to implement the Rose prima facie duty theory. I found that non-maleficence, justice, and reparation were particularly relevant in this case. So the company has a duty to prevent harm, distribute benefits and costs fairly, and repair harm that is already happened, which is the pollution to the river. So I also think that whether the compensation alone will be enough for the people who've been affected to the pollution. So I conclude that maybe the compensation is only part of the solution but not the full solution. I think the company should also restore the environment and prevent similar incidents happen in the future. And actually, I also try to implement the Kant's second formulation. I think that whether the fishermen affected and residents were being treated as end in themselves, or actually for achieving economic objectives. But I also recognize that maybe the accident alone does not prove that the company intentionally treated people as they intend to. So finally, I consider the environment and future generations. This has changed my perspective because the moral responsibility of a company should not only concern people affected immediately, but also the long-term condition of the environment in the same time. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.